"This is not love, Miss Washington. This is just a dream. Take the money and go away." Victoria Stone opened a shiny silver box. Inside were neat rows of money, $500,000. It looked like a gift, but it was really a way to make Amina leave. Amina sat quietly. Her hands rested on her belly where a tiny baby was growing. She didn't want the money. She didn't want to be bought. Even though someone rich and powerful was trying to scare her, Amina stayed calm. What happened next changed everything. The Stone family had always been in control, but now that power started to fall apart. Amina didn't run away. She stood strong, and because she did, their secrets couldn't stay hidden anymore. Hey, fiction of the Peace family. Before we dive into today's powerful story, drop a comment. Where in the world are you tuning in from? If you haven't joined our peaceful storytelling family yet, hit subscribe now and be part of a community that believes in love, hope, and second chances. Now grab a cozy seat. Let's begin today's unforgettable journey. The bathroom floor cold under Amina Washington's bare feet. The air felt heavy and strange for a Tuesday morning. Amina stood still. Her long, wavy black hair hung over her shoulders, shining under the bathroom light. She held something in her hand. It was a pregnancy test. 2 pink lines showed on it. Her heart beat faster. She was 28 years old and worked in a marketing office. She was really good at turning small ideas into big, exciting projects. She had planned her life so carefully, but now this changed everything. She put the test on the sink and looked at the little silver ring on her finger. It reminded her of how strong and independent she had become. She wore a navy blue blouse and neat pants for work. They felt like a shield to protect her from all the feelings in her heart. Pregnant. The word echoed in her head. She felt scared but also full of hope. She thought of Gabriel Stone, the man she loved. He had kind, green-gray eyes and a crooked smile. He was the son of a very rich family, Stone International. She needed to tell him about the baby, but she was nervous, especially about his mother, Victoria Stone. Victoria was cold and powerful. Amina came from a small apartment and was raised by a single mom. The Stones thought she didn't belong in their world. The day at work went by slowly. Amina sat in her cubicle, trying to focus on emails, but her stomach twisted, not from morning sickness, but because of the big secret inside her. That evening, she sat on her couch in her little apartment. The city outside buzzed softly. She waited for Gabriel. He had said he'd come after a meeting. He liked to escape from his family's fancy world and visit her. She practiced what to say. Her fingers brushed through her wavy hair like it was her comfort. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. It wasn't Gabriel's usual soft knock. It was loud and sharp. Amina frowned and walked to the door. Her shoes made no sound on the floor. When she opened it, a man in a dark suit stood there. He looked serious and cold like a robot. He held a leather briefcase. "Amina Washington?" he asked in a stiff voice. She nodded. Her throat felt tight. "I have an offer from the Stone family." He walked in without waiting and put the briefcase on her coffee table with a loud sound. He opened it slowly. Inside was a big envelope. "This will make everything easier for everyone," he said. Amina felt scared, but she stayed still. "What is this?" she asked. The man pushed the envelope toward her. "Open it," he said. Her fingers shook as she opened it. Inside was a check. It said $2,000. There was also a paper with a lot of confusing words. It was a contract. It said she had to give up her baby, never speak to Gabriel again, and leave quietly. Her eyes filled with fire. The money felt like poison. How could they try to buy her and her baby? She thought about Gabriel, how sweet he was, how he didn't like his family's rules. She thought about their quiet talks and the way he held her hand. This baby was a sign of their love, and now someone was trying to make it disappear. She leaned over the table and stared at the man. "Who sent you?" she asked. "You know who," he said with a smirk. "This is your chance to walk away, clean." Those words hurt, as if her life wasn't good enough. Amina felt a strong, fiery feeling inside her. Victoria Stone must have found out somehow. Amina had only known she was pregnant that morning. How did they know? But she was sure Gabriel didn't do this. He loved her. This was all Victoria's doing. Amina stood up tall. Her voice was strong. You think you can buy my baby? My life? Tell Victoria Stone she doesn't own me. She grabbed the contract and ripped it in half. Then she tore the check into little pieces. The paper floated to the floor like leaves. The man's face turned hard. You're making a mistake, he said. This offer won't come again. He closed the briefcase with a loud snap. The Stones don't like when people say no. Then they better learn, Amina said bravely. Now get out. The man left without saying another word. Amina sat on the couch, hands still shaking. Pieces of the check lay all around her feet. Her wavy hair stuck to her face, but her eyes were full of strength. She touched her belly. This baby would know a mom who fought back, not one who gave up. Gabriel would be there soon. She would tell him everything. About the baby, about the bribe, about the threat. She was not going to run. Not now. Not ever. The Stone family had drawn a line. Amina was ready to cross it. Amina sat on her couch. The torn check was still on the floor. Her long black hair was damp, but her eyes were strong. The pregnancy test, the 2 pink lines, still felt fresh in her mind. She thought back to 6 months ago, to the night everything had started, the night of the fancy charity gala. That night was full of shiny lights and glitter. Amina felt nervous in her simple navy dress. It looked nice, but it was from the clearance rack. She wore the same silver ring on her finger and stood near her company's brochures. She worked hard at her marketing job and was there to meet new clients. Everyone else wore fancy gowns and drank bubbly drinks. Amina felt like she didn't belong. Then across the room she saw a man. He was standing alone by the bar. He wore a gray jacket and jeans. His brown hair was a little messy. He didn't look proud or rich. That was Gabriel Stone, the son of the big Stone family. But he didn't act like a rich boy. Their eyes met. Something clicked. He walked over to her. You look like you don't want to be here, he said kindly. Amina laughed. You look like you're hiding, she replied. He smiled and said, Gabriel, no last name. They talked about everything, music, dreams, and life, but not about money. Amina was smart and funny, and Gabriel liked that. They talked for hours. The next day, Gabriel called her himself. Want to get coffee? He asked nervously. Amina smiled and said yes. Coffee turned into dinner at a small diner with a blinking neon sign. Gabriel wore a flannel shirt. They talked more about their lives. Gabriel said he didn't like how his mom, Victoria, controlled everything. He loved tech and coding. Amina shared how her mom had worked so hard for her. They became closer each day. Their secret love grew stronger. They walked near the river, laughed in the car, and whispered about a future together. Gabriel said, let's keep this a secret for now, to protect you. Amina believed him. She didn't know the storm that was coming. Now in her apartment, Amina looked around. The memory of those sweet nights made her feel brave. She looked at the torn papers on the floor, the check, the contract, all gone. But the man's words still echoed. The Stones don't take kindly to defiance. Her hand touched her belly. That life inside her was part of Gabriel, part of their love. She had believed love could stay hidden, but not anymore. This wasn't just about being in love. It was a battle. Someone turned the doorknob. Gabriel. Her heart raced. She stood up, her navy blouse wrinkled from the long day. The gala had started their story. Tonight, she would tell him the truth. The baby, the money, and the line she had just drawn. As the door slowly opened with a creak, Amina got ready. She knew it was time to tell the truth, no matter what would happen. Amina Washington's heart was still beating fast from the time she stood up to someone from the Stone family. The strong words she had said were still in the air of her small apartment. She walked back and forth, her long, wavy black hair brushing her shoulders. She felt nervous but strong. In her hand were the pregnancy tests. 2 pink lines that meant she was going to have a baby. Gabriel would come soon, and she was ready to tell him everything. She would tell him about the baby, about the money offer, and the fight she had started. She thought about the night they had shared love, about the months they had secretly spent together. Those memories gave her strength. She was not afraid of the powerful Stone family. But then, as the rain hit the window gently, there was a knock on the door. It was slow and serious. It was not Gabriel's knock. Her heart started to beat faster. She felt something was wrong. When she opened the door, there stood Victoria Stone. Victoria looked fancy and proud. Her silver hair was tied tightly, and she wore a shiny gray dress that stayed dry even in the rain. A big diamond ring sparkled on her finger. She didn't wait for an invitation. She just walked inside. Her high heels made sharp sounds on the floor. Victoria held a shiny silver box. It looked like something important and scary. Amina stood tall in her navy blouse. The silver ring on her finger made her feel strong. Victoria's pale blue eyes looked Amina up and down. Her voice was smooth but mean. "Miss Washington," Victoria said, "we need to talk." She put the silver box on the coffee table with a loud thud. It felt heavy, like it carried bad news. Amina stood straight and said with a strong voice, "I've already said no. I don't want your money." Victoria gave a small smile, like a lion ready to attack. "This isn't about what you want," she said. She opened the box. Inside was $500,000 in neat stacks of green money. There was also a contract. The contract said Amina had to give up her baby and stay away from Gabriel. "Take the money," Victoria said, "and do what's right for everyone. You don't belong with Gabriel. You can't raise a stone." Amina felt a lump in her chest. This wasn't just money. It was someone trying to take away her baby, her love, and her whole life. She looked at the money, but all she could see was Gabriel, his flannel shirt, his soft voice, and his dream of living free from his family. "This money doesn't buy my baby," Amina said, her voice shaking with anger. "You can't decide how much they're worth." Victoria's eyes turned cold. Her diamond ring flashed as she crossed her arms. "Don't try to be a hero," she said sharply. "A baby from you is a mistake, a mess. Gabriel's future is not yours to mess up." The word mistake felt like a slap. Amina thought of her own mom working long hours and raising her alone. Her baby wasn't a mistake. Her baby was her joy. "My baby is not something you own," Amina said, her voice calm but strong. "And I'm not something you can control." Victoria looked surprised for a moment, then angry. "You don't know what you're doing," she said. "If you say no, we'll make your life hard. Gabriel's name, this family, none of it belongs to you." She pointed at the contract and tapped the box. "Sign it. Take the money. Save yourself." Amina looked at the money again. It looked neat and rich, but it also looked like a trap. She remembered the sweet times by the river, Gabriel talking about escaping his family. That dream was real, but this box wanted to destroy it. Her eyes were hot with tears, but she didn't cry. She stood up straight and pushed the box hard. It slid across the table, and the money spilled onto the floor. The contract crumpled like trash. "Get out," Amina said, her voice strong and low. "Tell your family they can't buy me." Victoria stood still, shocked. Then her face twisted in anger. She grabbed the box, picked it up, and hissed, "You'll beg for this one day. The Stones always win." She left and slammed the door behind her. The sound of the rain covered her steps. Amina sat down on the couch, her hair falling in front of her face. Her hands were steady, even though her heart was heavy. The money on the floor showed she had said no. Gabriel would come soon, and she would tell him everything, the baby, the threats, and the terrible offer. But Amina knew this was more than just about love now. It was about her baby, about her worth, and about standing up to a powerful family. The Stone family didn't know how strong she really was. That was their big mistake. The next morning, Amina went to work at the marketing company. Her silver ring shone as she held her coffee. But her desk didn't feel safe anymore. Her boss called her in. He looked nervous. Amina, someone asked questions about how you're doing at work, he said. Also, the tax office is checking your papers. Amina's stomach turned. She had always done her taxes carefully. She knew this was no accident. At her desk, she checked her email. Someone had gotten into her account. Emails were sent that she didn't write. Her important work was deleted. She felt like someone was tearing her life apart. More things kept happening. A friend canceled their coffee meeting. People asked about her personal life. Later, when she stepped outside to get air, a black car came speeding close to her. She jumped back. Was it an accident or a warning? The car disappeared, but her heart was beating fast. She put her hand on her stomach, thinking of her baby. That night at home, she locked the door. She took off her flats and changed into a cozy sweater. She checked her laptop. More emails were missing. Her job was falling apart. She thought about Gabriel's promises. Had he told his family about the baby? How did they know so fast? Could she trust him? She tried not to doubt him. Then there was a knock at the door. Soft, not Gabriel's knock. She looked through the peephole and saw a young woman with glasses and straight brown hair. It was Noelle Stone, Gabriel's little sister. I don't have long, Noelle said, stepping inside quickly. She gave Amina a small USB drive. You need this. Why are you helping me? Amina asked. I heard what my mom did. She's done this to others, Noelle whispered. Gabriel doesn't know, but I recorded him arguing with her. Amina's heart felt tight. Gabriel had stood up for her? Noelle looked nervous but kind. I'm tired of her controlling everyone, she said. You're not the bad one. Noelle left quickly, her scarf flying behind her like a ghost. Amina plugged the USB into her computer. Gabriel's voice came through, angry and full of love. You can't do this, Mother. Amina's not a problem. Victoria's cold voice replied, She's a mistake you'll regret. The recording stopped, but Amina now knew the truth. Gabriel didn't betray her, but Victoria was trying to erase her completely. The next day, things got worse. Her boss talked about moving her to another office. Another call had come asking questions about her. Amina walked home, holding the USB in her pocket. That recording was her proof. Noelle's help gave her hope, but also questions. Could she really trust her? Her hand touched her belly. She was going to tell Gabriel everything tonight. But now it wasn't just about love. It was about stopping a powerful family from hurting more people. As the sky turned dark, Amina stood by her window. The city lights looked like tiny warnings. The stones were trying to win. But Amina wasn't going to give up. Noelle's USB was her weapon now. Gabriel's knock would come soon, and with it, the truth. The scary emails, the people spying on her, and even the tax checks didn't make Miss Sedan scared. In fact, they made her even stronger. She touched her belly gently. Her baby wasn't born yet, but the tiny life inside her gave her strength. She was waiting for Gabriel. She wanted to tell him about the baby and about the big fight they were now in together. Noelle had helped Amina, and her help made Amina think there were even more secrets. The Stone family wasn't just being mean to her, they were hiding something big, something powerful. As the sun went down and the city looked gray, Amina knew she had to find out more. She had to find a way to turn their secrets into the truth. She remembered the recording she had, a voice from Gabriel standing up to his family, and Victoria's cold answer. That recording showed something bad was happening, but it wasn't enough to stop them yet. Amina sat at her kitchen table. Her laptop gave off a soft light. Her silver ring sparkled as she typed and searched old news about the Stone family. Noelle's words kept coming back in her mind. She's done it before. Amina wondered, who were the other women? Amina sent a message to Noelle. She was careful but direct. She asked for more information. Noelle replied quickly, Meet me tomorrow. Coffee shop on 7th. I'll bring what I know. Amina's heart started beating faster. Noelle was taking a big risk, but it seemed like Noelle was truly scared of Victoria. That fear meant something was real. The next morning, Amina walked into the busy coffee shop. Her wavy hair was tucked under a scarf. She looked around carefully to see if anyone was watching her. Noelle came in soon after. Her straight brown hair was down and her glasses were foggy from the cold air outside. Her skirt swayed as she walked. Noelle sat down and gave Amina a folder. Her hands were shaking. "These are bank records," Noelle whispered. "From my mother's secret accounts, 3 payments, years apart, all sent to women like you." Amina felt her throat tighten as she opened the folder. Inside were names, dates, and big amounts of money. Thousands and thousands of dollars sent to women of color. All of them were connected to the Stone men. All of them had gotten pregnant, but then all of them disappeared. Noelle leaned in closer. Her voice was quiet. "They were erased. My mother made sure no one could find them again." Amina's fingers moved over a name. Lena Ellis. She had been paid 5 years ago. But unlike the others, Lena didn't vanish. Amina searched her name on her phone. Lena worked at a women's support group in the city. "She's still here," Amina said softly, a little hope in her heart. Noelle nodded. "Find her, but be careful. Mother is watching." Later that day, Amina stood outside the building where Lena worked. She took off her scarf. Her wavy hair was down and her heart was pounding. She walked inside. The place smelled like warm coffee and paper. Lena Ellis was 35 years old. She'd greeted Amina with a small smile. Her short brown hair framed her face, and she wore a silver bracelet that sparkled in the light. Her eyes looked tired but kind. Amina sat down and whispered, "I'm pregnant. The Stone family wants my baby gone. I know they did the same to you." Lena's face grew serious. She leaned back. "5 years ago, I was just like you," she said. "I was pregnant with a Stone man's baby. Victoria gave me money and told me to leave. Then she pushed me harder." She stopped for a moment, remembering something painful. "I had an abortion. I didn't want to, but they made it feel like it was the only thing I could do." She gave Amina a USB drive. Her hands were steady. "Here's proof. Bank records. Threats. I kept it. I was waiting for someone like you." Amina took the USB. It looked just like Noelle's. It felt very important in her hand. Lena told more of her story, how Victoria's lawyers scared her, how she felt all alone, how they tried to erase her and her baby from the world. "They don't just give money," Lena said. "They erase your whole life." Amina squeezed her hand into a fist. Her silver ring pressed into her skin. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about all the women who came before her. It was about the terrible things the Stone family did. "Why are you helping me?" Amina asked. Lena gave her a small smile. "Because you're still standing." Amina went home. She put Lena's USB into her laptop, the screen filled with shocking proof, money transfers, emails, and even a voice recording. It was Victoria, speaking coldly and clearly. She was telling someone how to make a woman go away. Amina now had a full picture. Noelle's records, Lena's USB. It showed everything. Amina started typing. Her fingers moved quickly. She sent a message to a journalist she once met. The journalist was known for writing stories about bad things big companies did. "I have a story," Amina said. "It's about the Stone family, their secrets." The journalist agreed to meet her. Amina's heart beat faster. The Stones had tried to scare her, but now she was ready. That night, Amina's phone buzzed. It was a blocked number. A strange voice spoke. "Back off, or you'll lose more than your job." Amina froze. The voice was scary. It reminded her of the other warnings. The black car, the strange emails, the tax checks, they were all threats. She looked out the window. The moonlight came into her room. Amina stood up. Her sweater felt soft. The folder from Noelle and the USB from Lena were on the table. They weren't just papers and files, they were her weapons. Gabriel still hadn't come. Where was he? But Amina remembered what Lena said. "You're still standing." She was. And she would keep standing. She was going to talk to the media next. She was going to tell the world. She was going to fight for her baby, for all the women who had been silenced. For the truth the Stones tried to hide. Amina's apartment looked like a battlefield. The table was covered in papers and the USB drive. Each paper was like a weapon. Her black hair was pulled into a tight bun. Her navy blue dress made her look strong. She was ready to fight. She touched her stomach. Her baby inside gave her strength. She had talked to the journalist. That was good, but she needed to do more. That day, the Stone family had their big company meeting. Gabriel hated those meetings. Victoria would be there, talking to the press, pretending to be nice. Amina was going to show up there too, with the truth. She met Noelle at a small diner. The place smelled like fried food. Noelle wore a cap and her glasses kept sliding down. She gave Amina one last thing, a photo. It showed Victoria with one of the women who had disappeared. "This connects her directly," Noelle whispered. "Security is tight, but the reporters outside can help you get in." Amina nodded. Her silver ring shone as she grabbed the photo. Lena's words came back. "You're still standing." Now, Amina was going to knock the Stones down. At the Stone International Building, the tall glass tower in the city, Amina stood with the reporters. Her navy dress stood out from all the business suits. Her hair bun was neat, but one strand had escaped and brushed her cheek. She held a folder. It had Noelle's records, Lena's USB, and the photo. She wore a press badge the journalist gave her. Security looked at her. Their radios made noise, but the reporters were her protection. She walked into the big lobby. Her shoes were quiet on the shiny floor. Her heart beat loudly. Inside the boardroom, the Stone family sat at a shiny table. It looked like a castle of power. Victoria stood at the front. Her silver hair was perfect. Her black dress was neat. Her diamond ring sparkled as she talked. "Our family," she said proudly, "believes in tradition and love." Cameras were recording her. Gabriel sat beside her. His hair was neat. His gray suit looked perfect, but his eyes looked far away. His old watch on his wrist didn't match the fancy room. Suddenly the doors opened. Amina walked in. The folder was heavy in her hands. Everyone turned. Victoria stopped speaking. "This ends now," Amina said loudly. Her voice was clear. Everyone looked at her like. She walked to the table and dropped the folder. "Your family legacy is a lie," she said to Victoria. "You hurt women like me." People started whispering. The cameras turned to Amina. Victoria's face got tight. She grabbed the table hard. "Security," she shouted. But Amina was faster. She opened the folder. She spread the papers across the table. "Look," she said, her voice strong. "Bank records. Bank records, a photo, proof from the USB. 3 women were paid to go away. Their babies were erased. Their names gone. Lena Ellis was once told to get rid of her baby. People gave her lots of money to make her stop being a mother. They didn't want her to have a baby. But they were wrong. You don't make a family by hiding the truth. You make it by being brave." The big office meeting room was full of important people. Cameras were flashing. Reporters were writing fast. Gabriel looked shocked. He saw a folder with proof and then looked at Amina. "You knew?" he asked his mother, Victoria. His voice was shaking. Victoria's face looked angry and scared. Her shiny diamond ring moved as her hands trembled. "I did it to protect the family," she said. "You, Gabriel, were a mistake. And Amina, she's a problem." Everyone gasped. Calling someone a problem felt like someone shouting a very bad word. Amina stood tall. Her dress was simple but strong, not like Victoria's fancy clothes. "Your family likes to control everything," she said, "but you can't control the truth." Gabriel stood up. His suit wrinkled. His shiny watch caught the light. He looked at his mother, then at Amina. His eyes looked clear for the first time. "If loving my baby means walking away from all of this," he said, "then I choose them." He walked over to Amina and held her hand. Everyone in the room went quiet. Even Victoria sat down, looking pale and shocked. "You're throwing everything away," she said with a shaky voice. But Gabriel didn't change his mind. Then one of the board members, an older man, stood up and said, "Mrs. Stone, this is a big problem. You're suspended until we decide what to do." Victoria's eyes went wide. Her diamond ring didn't shine so brightly anymore. Reporters started shouting questions. The security guards didn't know what to do. Amina's bun came loose and her wavy hair fell around her face, but she didn't look away from Victoria. This wasn't a big win yet, but it was the start of something new, something better. Gabriel and Amina walked out together. Reporters followed them. Amina held a folder in her hand. In her pocket was a little USB drive from Mia. It had the truth on it. Victoria was no longer in charge, but there were still many people like her. Amina thought of her baby. She thought of Lena. She thought of all the women who had been hurt and forgotten. As they left the tall building, the city was loud and busy. But Amina was ready. She knew she had a fight ahead of her, a new life to build. Gabriel held her hand tightly. It was a promise, but Amina knew it was her turn to lead the way. 3 years later. Amina still remembered that day in the big office, when she spoke up and told everyone the truth, when Victoria's secrets were finally known. That day changed everything. Gabriel stood beside her. He had given up his family's money and name to be with her and their baby. That was the day their new life started. Now, Amina stood outside their little house near a quiet lake. The sun was shining. Her long, wavy hair was free and blowing in the wind. She wasn't wearing a fancy dress anymore, just a soft white sweater and jeans. On her finger was a simple silver ring. The old life was gone, but the new one was full of love. The town by the lake was peaceful and quiet, very different from the noisy city. After the big meeting, Amina and Gabriel left the city. Victoria had been suspended from her job and the company's stock had fallen. Everyone was talking about it. Reporters followed them for weeks. Gabriel, whose brown hair was longer now, worked at a small tech company. He wore flannel shirts instead of suits. He didn't miss the fancy life. His green-gray eyes looked happy now. Gabriel's family cut him off. He got no money from them anymore. But he didn't care. He had Amina and their daughter. Their daughter's name was Hope. She was 2 years old now. She had brown skin like Amina, green-gray eyes like Gabriel, and soft, curly hair. She loved to laugh and play by the water. Gabriel was teaching Hope to stack little rocks. She giggled as he made funny faces. Amina's heart felt full as she watched them. But Amina was still careful. Even after 3 years, she remembered the mean things people did. The scary car that followed them, Victoria's angry words. The pain hadn't disappeared. But Amina was stronger now. Amina's fight didn't stop after the big meeting. She had sent all the proof to a reporter, with help from Lena and Noel, and the story was shared everywhere. Victoria was removed from the company and went into hiding. Her ring wasn't special anymore. Amina wanted to help other women too. So she started the Hope Foundation. It was a small office in town where she worked to help women hurt by powerful people. She stayed up late, working on her laptop, her hair tied back. She wanted to protect women like Lena and others who had been hurt or silenced. Lena became a helper at the foundation. She had short hair now and wore a silver bracelet that reminded her of how far she had come. Noelle, who had left her family, sent emails sometimes. They were short but kind. She was starting her life again. The Stone family still had power, but not as much as before. Amina's foundation made sure they couldn't hurt anyone like that again. Inside their cottage, there were lots of happy pictures. Hope's first steps. Gabriel and Amina laughing. The kitchen table had scratches but was strong. A jar of wildflowers sat on top. Amina came inside. Her sweater was soft. Hope ran toward her with open arms. "Mama!" Hope smiled, her curls bouncing. Amina picked her up and hugged her tight. She smelled like grass and baby shampoo. Amina felt calm. Gabriel came in too. His shirt had a little dirt from playing outside. His old watch still ticked on his wrist. "She has your fire," he said, smiling. "And your stubbornness," Amina said with a giggle. They looked at each other. Their eyes said, "We made it through." The Stone family had taken their money. But Amina and Gabriel had something better, a family full of love and truth. That evening, the three of them sat on the couch. Hope was in the middle, holding a picture book. "Mama, was I born in a big house?" she asked, eyes wide. Amina smiled, her hair soft around her face. No, sweetheart, she said kindly. You were born in a place where people learn they can't be bought. Gabriel held Amina's hand. His fingers gently touched her silver ring. It was a quiet promise. Outside, the lake sparkled under the stars. The house was peaceful. Amina's foundation was still working hard. Each woman they helped made their world a little stronger. Victoria's voice was gone now. Her power faded. Amina knew there were still powerful people out there, but she had faced them once, and won. As Hope fell asleep and Gabriel sat beside her, Amina felt proud. They had been through a storm, but they had made it. Now it was time to build a future full of hope. What did Amina's story make you feel? Did it remind you of something you've been brave about?